Hello again, YouTube friends. Can you believe it? 2 videos in 2 days. But, well, first of all, welcome back to those of you who are returning, and welcome for the first time for those of you who just found me. My name is Holly, and this is my channel, and I made a video yesterday, and upon reflection of that video, I realized there was some things I left out that I that I really did want to have in. So I'm gonna make this second video and cover all that stuff and maybe a little bit more. And in the interim of making that video yesterday, I got a book haul came in the mail today. So I'm gonna open that with you guys. I cut it open, but I haven't pulled the book out yet. So we'll see the condition and the topic together, although obviously I know what the book is. All right, so let's see. Did I remember to bring it? Did I remember to bring it? Did I remember to bring it? I did not remember to bring it. There is a book that I wanted to show you guys that I both started and finished last night, which has been a little goal of mine for the last, since I got back into reading. I wanted to just sit down with the book either for all afternoon or, you know, for 2 hours before bed and just read the whole thing. So I'm going to push pause. I'm going to go get that book and then we'll continue. It seems like no matter how much preparing I do, I never bring everything I mean to talk about. So I did it last night, although it's a very short book and it's a book for children, but I did it. I read a whole book in one evening. My husband plays pickleball and he had left for 2 hours and I thought, this is my chance. This is my chance to do it. So I had just gotten this book in the last couple of weeks. I saw it in one of my many browsing trips through the halls of thrift books, and it's called The Family Under the Bridge. It's by Natalie Savage Carlson. And I think that the especially lovely thing about the book is that this was had new illustrations drawn for it by Garth Williams. So it seems like this is Garth's version of this book, and the illustrations are quite lovely and really. Let me find one that I really like and really evocative. This is a good one. I really thought they were so special. Like I would even frame those and put them up on in my home. I really love them that much. But yes, this is a book for children. It says greeting. Oh, this is obviously some program. Greeting level 5.1. I'm not sure what that equates to, but I don't know. I think this is probably like 3rd or 4th grade in terms of my interest as a little kid. And it was a charming read, and obviously with all the pictures and things, even though it's 95 pages, it was not 95 pages worth of reading. But I'll read you the blurb on the back. Once there was an old man named Armand who lived under a bridge in Paris. Everything he owned could be pushed around in an old baby buggy without a hood. It was easy for him to move from place to place. Armand loved his solitary, carefree life. Children, he said, were like starlings, and one was better off without them. But the children who lived under the bridge knew a true friend when they saw one, even if that friend was a little bit grumpy to begin with. And it did not take Armand long to see he had gotten himself a ready-made family, one he loved with all his heart, and one he would have to find a better home for than the bridge. It was very touching, and I would recommend reading this book at Christmas time because it's actually set at that point. I didn't realize that when I got it. It's a lovely little read, and part of my getting back to or liberating myself into reading children's literature or children's books again. Literature might be a little lofty. I thought this was very charming. It was originally, there's another nice illustration. It was originally written, I think, in the late 50s. Originally came out in 1958, and this was a 1990 printing. So anyway, I did it. One whole book, even though it was short. And I wanted to mention quickly the book that I finished, I talked about in yesterday's video, Ziggyology, is another book that was recommended by Paul. And I put Paul's channel in my video yesterday, and I'll put below in this one too. So, and I think I need to make a video about just a few of you who've had an impact on me here on BookTube, or the ones that have had the most impact on me. And I want to do that so I can like like thank these people for inspiring me, but I also don't want to seem like some weird stalker. Like I always talk about the same 3 YouTubes all the time. So anyway, I mentioned in yesterday's video that I don't have a big circle of friends. I just have a tight little circle of really good friends, and that's kind of how I'm trying to keep my booktube world so I don't get overwhelmed. So anyway, all that to say that Paul had read this, I think at the end of last year, and recommended it. And one of the things that I enjoyed about it was that it's written by an Englishman, Simon Goddard. Well, I'm assuming he's English, and so it's all the British spellings of things, which I don't know is always an extra, like, I don't know, I find it charming. So like color spelled O-U-R, and check is C-Q-U-E-S, and S's instead of C's, and those kinds of things. And what else did I want to say about this? Oh, yes, that it reminded me of that particular compilation. Well, it started out as an album. I had it, a friend of mine had it probably on an album, and she recorded it onto a cassette tape. And that's what I had this is how I listened to this compilation, Changes. I think it's called Bowie Changes, and it might be Changes 1. But it's from 1975, and it is the best collection of his music up to that point. There's a couple songs that I like from those years that aren't on there, but I mean, in terms of like chart toppers, and oh my gosh, and the specific, the pattern of what's the word I'm looking for? The sequence of the songs in that album is just embedded in my brain. So when I went to find that album online and found it and listened to it, I realized that I knew exactly what song was going to come next. And then I knew I didn't have the album. And back then I wouldn't have had the CD. And when I was listening to it, and I knew it was a tape. So I knew it was something that somebody had taped for me. So that felt extra, whatever, homey and stuff. So this was a great, sort of reintroduction to his music. And now when I listen to that compilation, Changes Bowie, I have a very different perspective to hear those songs from. So all great. And I really thank you guys for being inspirational to me here on YouTube and opening me up to books I wouldn't have found otherwise. So thanks. I appreciate it. I also started this book, which I realized I forgot to mention in my last video. This is my new morning read. So this was my morning read for like 4 months, and now this is my morning read. And I anticipate getting through it faster because, well, as I told you yesterday, I got my reading mojo back, and I'm not that far into it. It's a little bit small print, so it might not go quite as quickly, and I tend not to read as fast in the morning because I'm starting to get like distracted, usually having some kind of text conversation with my siblings. So anyway, I'm 36 pages in. I love this movie. I think the movie's just called Enchanted April. It's not The Enchanted April, but this is definitely the same story. And I love that movie. And I was thinking about making this video today and what I would say about this book and that movie. And it occurs to me that I think there was a specific period of time, and I think it was the early 90s, especially, but early to mid 90s. So that would make me early 20s. And that was the time when we were all going to Blockbuster for our movies. And that was my first opportunity really to have access to, or easy access to, foreign films. And I started renting foreign films, which is how I found Enchanted April. I'm guessing it's an English film. It wasn't that, it was pretty mainstream. But anyway, there's a whole selection of movies that I saw in the 90s, when I was exposed to movies that I wouldn't have found otherwise. They weren't on HBO, and I wasn't seeing them in my theaters. So this is one of them, Enchanted April. And I have seen this movie so many times. I had a DVD of it for a while. I've since lost it, but yeah. Just puts you in the best frame of mind, this movie. It's so beautiful. And if you like Bridgerton and Polly Walker in that, it's really fun to see her in this movie. Anyway, this is just like the movie. There's more detail, but I'm looking forward to finishing that. So that's my morning read. Now, drum roll for the most exciting part, the haul, the one book haul. Anyway, oops, almost spilled my tea. Here it is. Ta-da! I hope it's in good shape. A Cook's Tour by Anthony Bourdain. I am one of many, many people who adored his program. And of course, I didn't know him personally, but he became, he's one of those celebrities who starts to feel like a friend, I guess, because they're so like authentic on camera, or seem to be anyway. And oh, I loved his program. When I used to watch it, I had this whole collection of shows that I was recording off TV at that point when I first found him. And there was such good was such good stuff to watch back then. And I don't remember whether he was on like Cooking Channel or where you found him at that point. Maybe he was on, this says Food Network. Maybe it was originally Food Network. There was a lot of really great cooking people on TV at that point. Nigella Lawson was on. Anyway, his show was so special, and I, along with all the rest of you, was just heartbroken when he died. And I have read one, I think I read Kitchen Confidential. It's somewhere back here on all these books behind me, and I can't see with these glasses on. Yep, I see it, Kitchen Confidential. It's right next to a book about Audrey Hepburn. And I really enjoyed reading that, and I have never read this one. And I love that there's this receipt in here like this, because it makes me feel like I checked it out from the library. But I got this on eBay. And I have started thinking to look on eBay more for books now, because some of you have mentioned eBay recently. And I think I said this in yesterday's video, you can find older copies of the book. When I go to thrift books, I tend to end up with newer versions of it. So anyway, I am really amassing a TBR, like, wow. But I'm also, rather than calling it a TBR, I just want to call it a library. So I want to, when I want to read a certain book, I will. When I'm feeling a little bored, I want to look through my library and find something that calls to me that I forgot I had. So this is going into my library, but I do hope to read it relatively soon. I kind of think this is his first book that started it all. So anyway, it may make me a little sad, but I'm looking forward to reading that. So that was my one book haul for today. And then last two things, I realized I didn't even tell you what this book was about. All I said was, oh, it jumps between two different time periods, and the one set in the late 30s and the lead up to the Spanish Civil War, and my, how I did an essay on Guernica in college, and I got totally off track. And one thing that I'm trying to do, or to learn, is how to do like little book reports and talk about what the books are about, rather than just saying, I read this and it was 390 pages and I really liked it. So the center of this book, well, okay, the main character is a woman in the 60s, and she gets a job at like this art house, and I think it's actually a publishing house, and they're also in the art world, and a very distinctive painting comes in, and they're all sort of gasping at it because they can feel there's something special about it. And one of the head bosses takes over on the whole thing, while one of the people underneath her underneath the big boss, this woman executive, is really quite obviously disturbed by the painting, and she has some kind of connection to it, and she knows, after they find out the surrealist who is the painter of this painting, she insists that that's not the person who painted it. And then come to find out, we realize she has a personal story attached to this, and that's the story that's happening in the 30s, while we're learning about the painting in the 60s through another main character. So anyway, eventually, obviously, those two time periods we weave together, and we learn what we need to learn. And it was a really, really great story. And I didn't ever get lost between all the different time periods, which sometimes happens. It is also a nice floppy book, so it was easy to read. And what else? Yeah, I guess that's it. But yeah, I'm going to try to get better about actually telling you guys what the book's about. So now my next fun read that I'm thinking maybe I can read it if I do it right, maybe I can do it in 2 or 3 nights, is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which I talked to you guys about yesterday. I've only read the first few pages because I got really tired last night. But, oh, actually, did I not? I didn't read anything. I guess I finished The Children Under the Bridge, and then I was tired. The Family Under the Bridge. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. And did I tell you guys yesterday when this book was from? It's in really good condition considering it's older. It's a Starline edition, Scholastic Book Services. Oh, remember Scholastic books in school? Okay, so this one's 1964, and I don't think, oh wait, no, the story was copywritten in 1964, copyrighted in 1964, but the first printing was in 68. So I don't know if this is an original printing, but it's a really cool cover. So all of a sudden, there's certain books I'm realizing, oh, if I'm going to go back and read them, I don't want the current cover. I want the original cover. And sometimes that costs too much to even consider. But sometimes you can get the newer or the older one on eBay and for not an exorbitantly high price. One of the books I realized this about that I wanted to reread is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume, which of course, major book in my childhood history. And I got one because I could get one for whatever, $5 on Thrift Books, but it was the current cover. And I can't even read the book. Like I need that purple cover with Margaret with the poofy blonde hair. And that's the one I have to read. So I will donate the current Are You There, God? Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, to a library we have in town especially for kids, because that's a great book for preteen girls to read. Anyway, that was it. I wanted to give credit to Paul. I wanted to tell you about the book I'm reading in the morning. I did my mini book haul, and yeah, I have a little video percolating in me about the influence and inspiration that some of you fellow booktube folks have offered me. And I even have over here the books that I've read this year, and there's a few in there from you guys, and definitely books I would not have read either. So anyway, I'll wait till I have a few more booktube people. At this point, it's just Paul and my friend Jim at Great Books, Big Ideas. And yeah, I don't want to seem like a stalker for Paul and Jim. So I'll read a couple more books that are suggested by a couple more booktube people. And then in the next few months, I'll make a thank you video to everybody. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye for now, everybody.